Thank you. So before we start, I want to do a little event with you. So if you could please get out your smartphones, and maybe you know that from concerts, and just put on your flashlight. If you could do that, it would be awesome. Anyone here? Don't have smartphones here? At least look at that, look at that. Just a few flashlights create such a beautiful light. And now imagine there were 2 or 3 school classes here, thanks a lot, doing the same. And we are taking pictures of that. What beautiful image could we create? We could create an LGX star field right here. And this is right into my topic, this is right into media creation. And this is one of the reasons. It needs to switch, sorry for that. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why we should immediately talk about video games in school. So let's have a look about media competence. What is media competence? What do we need there? There's a German professor, he split it into 4 parts. It's media critic, the media studies, how much we know about media, the media use, and the media design. So what is media critic? It's quite funny how we see media, or how parents or teachers see media. If they see someone playing a shooter game with a lot of blood, they will be like, oh my god, it's so brutal, what kind of trash is this? How could you even play this? Or even there are people reading newspaper articles and saying, oh, video games, they are so harmful, how could you do that? But if you play it yourself, or you're watching horror movies or something else, you're like, yeah, but I know it's just fun and it's so entertaining, and I know that it's not real, but it's crazy. How could we see it that way, but judge others on that? So for parents and teachers, it could be a solution to just getting to know the media of their students or of their children. Like showing them their media and let them show the media of the children. So media knowledge is basically what we know about media itself. For example, how do I program a VHS recorder? I don't know, does anybody here know what VHS is? Like the video cassettes? It's very old. But this is basically where it starts, yeah. And a second one is, how do I create a document? A simple Office or Word or Google document. This is also media knowledge already. And how do I log myself into my account, or how do I create an account is also part of this part of media competence. Media use can be split into 2 parts. It's first a receptive kind of media, like I'm just watching Netflix or something like that. But it's also the creation of media, like or the interaction with media, like online shopping. It's already media use. Or take pictures, or draw pictures in Photoshop. This is also part of an interactive use of media. And media design is basically, we can work in media jobs to create more technology, to develop that technology, and also the creation. For schools, it would be a great part if they do modern classes in art, for example, with Photoshop or photography or something like that. This could be a great chance with media creation. So let's get into the education part. I will talk about some personal stories. We speak of digital natives, which is kind of funny, because digital natives is a term from the 1990s. And it's crazy. In the 1990s, we had DOS and Windows 3.11. And now think of what happened in the last 30 years in media and computer technology. That's huge. So my first contact with media was basically my first Game Boy, and it was a shared console with my parents, which was awesome. We could experience all the games together. So these were basically my first steps. And what did we do with that console? Like, one of our favorite games was Zelda, Link's Awakening, and we had to solve a lot of puzzles, and some were very difficult for me as a child, so there were puzzles that I helped my parents out, and my parents helped me out with other puzzles. This principle is called pass to play. It's very rare nowadays, but it was very popular back then. Then, going into school, we had the first edition of Pokemon. I had the red edition, some of my friends had the blue edition, which was great because you couldn't get all the Pokemon in one edition. You needed to find someone with the other edition. And this was the first social gameplay we had, since we were running all over the schoolyard, battling with the other students and pupils, and swapping the Pokemon so that we can get all of them. So nowadays it's a bit easier since we have online gaming. Like, you go online, you play Rocket League on an internet server, and you're good to go. You can play with people all over the world. Or you can also do couch co-ops, but they are also not that common. So it's a little danger here since everything is happening in one room. So there could be an addiction and you don't know who your students or children are talking to. So here we can have a solution like we can do in consulting, like talk to the children what they're doing, or even get a third person that does that. And you can also do a parent-child contract. That means you can set up times where the children are allowed to play. Yeah, and you can also experience the games together. Like, go ahead and try online gaming for yourself. So back then, we loved to go to the library. Why? Because we also love the pop culture of video games. We loved to collect these cards of Pokemon or Magic, and we played against each other. And the great chance here was that we could experience more media, like we could experience books. Why? Because we love video games. And that's so great. Then we also had in school project groups for media. Me, myself, I was in the school's magazine for some years. I also was the leader of the school's radio, and I sometimes helped out the video project group, which was a bit funny because one time a teacher came to me and said to me, well, you cannot do one more project group. There's no space on your certificate. I cannot write it down for you. So I stick to that once. Today, it's more like a self-experience. I don't know if there are still media project groups that exist, which would be very sad. Today, we can create our own stuff. We have our smartphones. We can easily record videos and cut them easily with apps nowadays. So we can be a YouTuber quite easy. We can be a TikToker and do TikToks and so on. We can do social media posts. But again, we do that more for ourselves. And this is a bit dangerous since we're putting all the images of ourselves in the internet, and it's not that easy to get them deleted again afterwards. So here also a solution would be to do school's project or class project with social media, like create an own class social media account together with the teacher or with the teacher team. That would be a great chance, but I sadly never experienced it by myself. So back then it was, there was another danger. I had an old Nokia mobile phone without internet at all, but still here. Working with smartphones and mobile phones could be dangerous since you sometimes don't know what costs there are. Like, there are expensive numbers, or if you talk too long, it could be very expensive. Okay, nowadays you have flat rates, but still, you should do a mobile phone training together, and this could be put at home with the parents and children, and also in schools with teachers and classes. Today it's quite the same. Of course, you have flat rates, but like, you need to download everything from a store. For that, you usually need some credit card information or anything. So if parents go there and insert their credit card information, the children have it easy to just download all the stuff they need. And there are hidden costs even in free-to-play games. Like, I need some gems to get stronger in my game, so I just buy them. And this could be very high costs in the end. And also with social media, another topic is cyberbullying. And this is also very dangerous, since you can hide yourself in the internet or create fake profiles. Yeah, you don't necessarily know who's writing you, and it's more difficult to find out who's bullying you. So this is also a topic that should be more present in schools nowadays. So another solution here, of course, is to explore together at home or to do projects. It's always a great thing to do projects in school with the classes and so on. So what can the schools do here? Of course, you can create stuff. You can create pictures, you can create videos together, podcasts, you can create teams to play against each other or with another. Then, of course, you should talk about the topics and also teach. You can do an esports project with your class. It's also great to have some team building or class building in there. You can talk about fake news and modern, how to use news in general. So there are so many topics in media education and also in video games that you can put in school. And last but not least, it's a socializing factor. If they play in teams, they get to know each other better and they learn how to solve conflicts. And you can have all of that in video games. But still nowadays, video games are kind of hated in school. And that's very, very sad. So, this was the last point of my talk. I'd be very happy if you're interested in media education to talk to you. We are in Hall 1 at the booth of Gecko and Play. And also, if you're interested in creating new media education projects, I'd be very happy to help you out there because I'm also open to new projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that beautiful presentation, Oliver. Now, before we leave, I still have two little questions for you. You've been talking about what schools can do, or maybe should do, in terms of media education for children and youth. Are there maybe certain projects that you already work on or have heard of that are going on in schools?
It's more like I did some lessons on the topics, like we had a lesson on fake news, where we created a flyer to find out how we can see fake news. This was okay, but I also wrote a concept for a whole tournament, like an inclusive esports schools tournament. I'm still working in a class right now, and we have two classes with people with and without disabilities, so it would have been perfect to do that in school. But here again, video games in school are still something we need to talk about because the teachers, they were fine with it. They said, hey, if you're doing that and you can explain stuff to us, then we are happy to learn it. And we also did stuff like integrate esports in all the other classes or all the other subjects. Like we wanted to do fit food instead of fast food, like sports nutrition in the cooking classes, or creating accounts and privacy on the internet in the social classes. Yeah, and we had a small amount of playing itself. And still the leader of the school was like, oh my God, you want to do video games? I heard that sometimes it's like you have some mechanics like a casino or like luck-based play, and also we don't want virtual projects, we want real projects. And all the other people of the team were like, wow, but this is exactly why we should do that project. But still, it got declined.
So maybe it's starting to get on the right way, but we're still not there yet.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then I have another question more about you. How did you come to work in that pedagogical media type of thing?
Oh, it kind of happened. First, I am an educator for people with disabilities. This is what I learned. And I'm very interested in media education in private. And we once did a festival, so we created our own event, and there I was like, oh, I could do that with gaming. And then, of course, we had a pandemic situation, so I dived into esports since this was some digital events I could do, and I was like, oh my God, this is such a great idea to just combine the things together. And so my passion for media education grew even more, and this is why I'm here now.
So it was a perfect match. All right. Well then, thank you, Oliver, for the presentation and those few questions. You said you're still available if anyone want to talk about it at your booth. So I'd say, ladies and gentlemen, go visit him there. It is a very interesting topic.
Thank you.